Hi, good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to the first chapter of history, advent of Europeans to India. So, in previous classes, we studied many things about the advent of the Europeans to India, the arrival of Europeans to India. Okay, you know, before the arrival of Europeans to India, you know, uh, it was the monopoly of the Italy or the Romans to do the business throughout the world. Okay. Meanwhile, what happened? The Turkey was conquered by the Ottoman Turks. Okay. Ottoman Turks conquered Constantinople, the capital of Turkey. Okay, and there were Islamic rulers. So finally, what happened? The business through Constantinople was not so successful. And later, what happened during this time? The business through Constantinople was not profitable for Italy and other countries. Okay, during this time, Portugal and Spain, they were looking for another sea route to India. Okay, and later, Vasco da Gama, in the year of 1498, in the year of 1498, Vasco da Gama discovered a sea route to India through the Cape of Good Hope, that is the southern tip of Africa. Okay, and after many years, they continued the journey to India through that route only. Okay, but it was very lengthy road. It took around 10,800 nautical miles. Okay, and one nautical one nautical mile is equal to 1.85 kilometers. Okay, and it was very long distance for them, and the journey through the ocean is very hectic. It is very horrible and very dangerous. Okay, and they took it as a challenge. Okay, and later, the country called Egypt, they widened a small canal called the Suez Canal, and later this widening of the canal made it possible to move the big ships. Okay, as a result, it became the Suez Canal became the route of Europeans to India. Okay, so the distance became half minimized, and later the distance among within India was 6,200 kilometers. Okay, 6,200 nautical miles. Okay, and later on the board you can see these are the European countries who dominated over India. First we can see the Portuguese. They came to India in the year of 1498, and they settled in our country until 1961, even though we got freedom from British. Okay, and later the arrival of Portuguese, we can see it was Dutch, or the people of Holland is known as Dutch people, or they are also known as the people of Netherlands, and the capital of Holland is Amsterdam. Okay, Amsterdam is the capital of Dutch, whereas the capital of Portugal is Lisbon. Okay, Lisbon is the capital of Portugal, and Amsterdam is the capital of Dutch. Okay, and Dutch people settled in India. They dominated in India from 1596 to 1792. 1596 to 1792. 1792. Okay, that was the liberation of the Dutch people. Okay, and the third, the British came. They arrived in India in the year of 1600 with the permission of Queen Elizabeth. she granted permission for British East India Company, a private limited company, to operate, to run business in India for 14 years. But unfortunately, it was extended up to 1947. Okay, so we can see that around 347 years they colonized India. Okay, they maintained. They built a business with Europe in the beginning, but they maintained a business with India in the beginning, but later they started exploiting us. Okay. And coming to the last, French, the capital of France is Paris, and whereas Britain it is London. Okay, London is the capital of Britain, whereas the capital of France is Paris. Okay, they came in the year of 1664 up to 1957. Like the Portuguese, they also settled here. Even we got independence in 1947. They stayed here up to 1954. Okay, so these are the European countries and their years. How much years they settled in India, we can see. Okay, and later Britain and French dominated India, and Portuguese and Dutch people concentrated in other eastern part, Southeast Asian countries like Singapore, Malaysia, like that countries. Okay, and Britain and France, there was ego problem among them, and they conducted many wars in between. Total 3 different wars was there, and this total years of the war was around 14 years. Okay, first initially it was 2 years war, then second war was extended to 5 years, and later it was extended to 7 years. So total 2 plus 5 plus 7, we will be getting 14 years. Okay, so it was a war for domination. Okay, and later what happened, they made so many wars, and later in Europe this also created some chaos in Europe, and later they made a treaty. They made an treaty or agreement in Europe. That treaty is known as Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Aix-la-Chapelle. The treaty, the agreement, the peace agreement with France and England. Okay, and so there was many wars. The wars were there in between France and Britain. Okay, and later let us go to the important points. That is the British role in India. Okay. So on page number 7 you can see, I shall read, please listen. After getting political control over South India, the British tried to gain control over the rich Bengal province in the later part of the 18th century. The Bengal province had achieved tremendous growth in the areas of agriculture, commerce and industry. Okay, the East India Company was making considerable profits from the province, from this Bengal province. Okay, and as a result, the British people first made their capital as Kolkata. Okay, and they made a very wonderful fort in William Fort in Kolkata. That is also very famous still now. Okay, and the Dastaks, or it is a license. Dastaks means license. It's a Persian word, Dastaks. Okay, license issued by the Mughal ruler Farooq Siyar were the main reasons for this. But these Dastaks that were limited to the company transactions were misused by whom? The individual officers of the company. Okay, this also made the relationship between Europe and the British and the Mughal ruler. Okay, the Bengal ruler. Okay. This resulted in the huge loss of the Bengal government. Hence, all the Nawabs from the Murshid Ali Khan to Ali Wardi Khan opposed such misuse of this word license, or we call it as Dastaks. Okay, Dastak is a license for importing and exporting from India. Okay, from India and to India. Okay, this led to confrontation between the Nawabs and the company. This resulted in two crucial wars which charted a decisive course to Indian society history, that is known as Plassey and Buxar were those two wars. Okay, Plassey war was happened in the year of 1757. 1757. Okay, due to this Dastak problem, okay, or license problem, the British people never kept their promise. So this led to a war called Plassey War. Okay, and later it was known as the Buxar. Okay, and after the death of the Nawab, Bengal of Nawab Ali Wardi Khan, his grandson became the ruler. His name was Sirajud-Dawla. Okay. The Battle of Plassey took place between the young Nawab Sirajud-Dawla and the British in the year of 1757. Okay. And you know, British people were not that much happy with Sirajud-Dawla, and they tried to misplace, they want to replace, okay, they want to replace Sirajud-Dawla with Mir Jafar. Okay, Mir Jafar. And Mir Jafar, he was the military head of Sirajud-Dawla, and as a result what happened, British people given lot of offers to Mir Jafar, and he told you should not help, you should not cooperate with Sirajud-Dawla by extending your military power. Okay, he was the head of the military, and he became neutral. He never helped, he never stand with whom? Sirajud-Dawla. As a result, in the war, Sirajud-Dawla was defeated. Okay. Sirajud-Dawla, who tried to escape from the battlefield, was captured and later he was killed. And next Mir Jafar came, but earlier British people given what offer to Mir Jafar. But they appointed him as the next Nawab of Bengal, but soon after he was also killed by the British. Okay, and next is we can see the Battle of Buxar. Okay, the Battle of Buxar in the year of 1764. 1764. Mir Qasim was an efficient administrator. In the beginning, he remained loyal to the company. He was very adjustable with the British company. He paid 2 lakhs pounds to the company and gave away a few places to it. Shortly afterwards, he declared himself an independent king, who Mr. Mir Qasim. Okay, and as a result, what happened? After verifying the misuse of Dastaks, he declared all business was duty-free in Bengal. Indians competed against the British in all spheres of business. As a result, the British trade suffered a lot or considerably. Okay, this was enough for the British to oppose whom? The Nawab, that was Mir Jafar. Okay, they brought in Mir Jafar again and dethroned Mir Qasim. As Mir Qasim knew the cunningness of the British, he went for an organized war against the British. He was supported by Indian merchants and artisans. Mir Qasim entered into agreements with the Mughal ruler Shah Alam II and Nawab of Awadh, Shuja'ud-Dawla. The combined forces of Mir Qasim faced the British army led by the Hector Munro at Buxar in 1764. Mir Qasim was defeated and ran away from the battlefield. Shah Alam II surrendered. The efforts of the combined forces to stop British failed miserably. Okay, so now let us see what are the outcomes, consequences of this battle of Buxar. Okay, first one, Shah Alam II accorded the Diwani rights over Bengal to the British. Second, Shah Alam II gave away all the rights over Bengal to the British for an annual fee of rupees 26 lakh. We can't imagine the amount now, because during that time 26 lakhs means nowadays it will become crores of rupees. Okay, crores, lakhs of crores of rupees it will be now. And third point, the Nawab of Awadh had to pay a fine of rupees 50 lakhs for waging a war against the company. When we compare the amount with now recent price rate, it will be more crores of rupees. Okay. And fourth point, with the death of Mir Jafar, the company paid a pension to his son and took over the entire administration of Bengal. Okay. So here you might have hearing a new word, Diwani right. Okay. Diwani right is the right to collect land taxes. Okay. So here we can see the exercise part on page number 10. And on page number 10 also you can see some important years. 1600, you know, the East India Company was established in Bengal. Okay, the East India Company. And 1602, the United East India Company was established in Netherlands. 1619, the Mughal Emperor Jahangir issued a royal charter allowing the British to conduct trade in Surat. Surat is a place in Gujarat, okay, on the west coast, and the Hooghly on the east coast. Okay, Hooghly is in the West Bengal right now. 1639, the English established their first warehouse in Surat. Okay, and in 1664, the French East India Company was established in France. So coming to fill in the blanks, first question you can see. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks occupied dash. Okay, what is the answer? Constantinople. Okay, the sea route between India and Europe was discovered by dash. We know that is Vasco da Gama. Okay, the capital of French in India was Pondicherry or Puducherry. Okay, Puducherry. The new name is Puducherry. Fourth question, in 1757, Robert Clive declared Plassey battle over Sirajuddaula. Okay, the Diwani rights over Bengal were handed over to British by whom? Okay, Shah Alam. Okay. And sixth one, the dual government policy was implemented by Robert Clive in Bengal. So this is the exercise part, fill in the blanks, and we can see some question for 6 question answers are there. These things we can cover coming classes. Okay, take care, have a nice day, thank you.